What's going on, nation? Today we're going to answer a question as old as time itself, and it is there really a 30-minute anabolic window, and is my workout pointless if I forget my protein shake once my workout is over? Some people say yes, while others say no, and that a nice high-protein meal 2 to 3 hours after is just as good or better. So, who's right? Well, instead of listening to gym bros talk nonsense out their asses, how about we do some research and put this myth to bed ourselves? But before we get started, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying this content, and click that notification bell so you never miss a new video upload. Before we get to the question at hand, we first need to answer another question. How is muscle actually built? The truth is that the process of muscle building is the result of the following equation. Muscle mass equals total protein synthesis minus total protein breakdown. In simple terms, protein synthesis is when amino acids are bound together, triggering a genetic response to build more muscle mass, and protein synthesis is usually elevated after a high protein meal and after your workouts. Protein breakdown, on the other hand, is when amino acids are leached off of your skeletal muscle tissue, and this can happen either because you're in a state of catabolism, which is basically not getting enough calories, or because you just worked out. Remember, guys, when you're training, you're literally breaking down your muscles to a degree. These two processes, protein synthesis and protein breakdown, are constantly in effect, and the net result between the two determines your muscle building results. If the total protein synthesis is greater than the breakdown, your muscle mass is bound to increase. It's that simple, guys. With this in mind, it would seem that the easiest way to combat protein breakdown would be to focus on increasing protein synthesis. This is because, for the most part, protein breakdown only becomes an issue if you're in a calorie deficit or training fasted. But even then, guys, supplementing with things like BCAAs throughout the day and around your workouts can help eliminate the problem, or at least minimize it as much as possible. So, if we're going to focus on protein synthesis for muscle growth, then we need to know when it's elevated the most, and the answer is when a new stimulus is introduced. This new stimulus can either be in the form of an intense workout or a high-protein meal, and we're going to be taking a closer look at both right now. Let's first talk about elevated protein synthesis from training. Exercise-induced protein synthesis elevation occurs every time you work out a specific muscle. So let's say you're training chest today. According to research, the protein synthesis for that particular muscle will be increased for 24 to 36 hours after your workout. In fact, peak levels of protein synthesis will be at around 24 hours, and then it slowly starts to fade away. However, if you happen to be one of those genetic freaks, it may carry on for up to 48 hours, but that is extremely rare. So probably not you, definitely not me. But what this basically means is that as long as you're constantly consuming enough protein and are in a calorie surplus every single day, you're already taking advantage of the anabolic window, which at this point should seem to you more like a huge bay window as opposed to a teeny tiny basement one that most gym bros would try to have you believe. So the next time someone tries to tell you that you're losing your gains, you can inform them that a protein shake immediately after your workout is no different than having a high protein meal 2 to 3 hours after. As long as your total macros, micros, and calories are on point, you will see gains. And if you need help figuring out your macros, you can use my free calculator and my custom meal plan app on my website, muscularstrength.com. However, now that you're armed with this new information, you might now be starting to realize why training each body part 2 times a week is more optimal for muscle growth than bro splits. You can still train and see results with bro splits though, guys. Don't completely kick those to the curb. But full body workout programs like push-pull legs, for example, allow you to target every muscle group twice a week, which means that as soon as your elevated levels of protein synthesis start to die off, which is 36 hours after your workout, you're immediately boosting them right back up. This way, there is an elevated level of protein synthesis throughout the entire week and a constant cycle of train, eat, and build muscle. If you've never done a push-pull legs program before and are looking for a 12-week program to get you started, you can check mine out, and I'll post that link down in the info section below. Now guys, if you're currently training with Bro Splits and are training each muscle group once a week, this simply means that you're building up each group only for the first 36 hours of training it for that particular week, regardless of how sore you get. But this doesn't mean you're not going to eventually grow. It just means obviously that your gains won't be as fast as someone training multiple body parts twice a week. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to protein synthesis is that everything I just told you only applies to natural lifters. Steroid users will experience elevated protein synthesis for up to a week after a workout. Therefore, they're constantly building muscle all week long. So if you're currently taking training advice from a steroid user and you're wondering why you're not seeing the same kind of gains doing their Bro Splits, now you know why. Next up is elevated protein synthesis from a high protein meal. This time though, research clearly shows that protein synthesis is elevated for up to 3 hours after your meal and then it fades away. So I'm sure you're now wondering, what if I keep eating protein all day? Does this mean that I'll have increased protein synthesis all day long? Well, unfortunately, the answer is no. This only happens when your body is depleted from energy and nutrients, which is when you wake up because you're in a fasted state. Now, a case could also be made that your body is craving nutrients after a workout, so the introduced stimulus of a high protein meal would increase protein synthesis after a workout as well. And I agree with that, but this window has nothing to do with specific timing. It doesn't matter when you have your next meal after a workout. As long as you have it and as long as your body is energy depleted, your protein synthesis will be elevated for about 3 to 4 hours. So let's summarize, guys. Consuming a protein shake within a 30-minute window after your workouts will absolutely give you no added benefit as opposed to waiting until you get home to prepare a meal. Science clearly shows that as long as you're in a calorie surplus and you're having enough protein to build muscle, you will build muscle regardless of nutrient timing. Aside from that, as a matter of convenience, it might be a smart idea to have your protein shake after your workout and then have a high protein, high carb meal 2 to 3 hours later, basically as a means of maximizing the amount of protein and calories you're consuming every day. I personally like to take my Synthesix isolate after my workouts because it contains whey and casein protein and has a good amount of protein and carbohydrates. Then once I get home, I like to prepare a hot meal of chicken, asparagus, broccoli, beans, and sweet potatoes. And now that you guys are armed with this great information, start taking advantage of multiple growth periods from training each body part twice a week, and make sure you really maximize that muscle growth by increasing protein synthesis as much as possible. And guys, if you're enjoying these videos, please show some support by not only hitting that subscribe button, but also hitting that thumbs up button. With the amount of subscribers in our fitness family, we should be getting a minimum of 4,000 likes per video, so let's make it happen. Show the love, nation, and if you have any questions or if you want to suggest future topics, be sure to leave your comments down in the comment section below. The next video I'm currently researching is going to be on SARMs. This has been requested by a lot of you guys, and I promise to continue to deliver unbiased information on topics like these, so expect that video real soon. Train hard, get those gains, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.
Gun.